To the first turn, banging into each other, every rider concentrating solely on his effort to lead the pack. Rounding out the first turn, the riders set up for the tricky course that lies ahead. It's a colorful field of Hondas, Kawasaki's, Yamahas, and Suzukis. There are factory teams and privateers. The leader of this event is a 21-year-old California factory rider named Rick Johnson. The abuse the motorcycles take is awesome. The engines develop 250 cc's of power. These lightweight bikes can literally fly 25 to 30 feet into the air and land on heavy-duty competition shock absorbers without breaking apart. The riders sit as far back as possible, putting weight on the rear of the motorcycle, trying to land as often as possible on the rear wheel. What's important is not how high you jump, but how far the trajectory. As Rick Johnson continued to lead this event, the defending champion Jeff Ward on bike number 1 was putting as much pressure on Johnson as possible. He continued to stay with him, hoping he could catch the leader or pressure him into making a mistake. Motocross racing is a sport where you try to relax and not push too hard in the beginning, as endurance is important. Each moto is a grueling 20-lap affair on a half-mile course. The riders are all young, in their early 20s, and considered to be some of the finest conditioned athletes in the world. Not only are they required to have strength, but stamina as well. Keeping the bike low and level off the jumps creates more forward momentum, and that's the key to making fast laps in motocross. In the late stages of this race, they were clearing 2 and 3 jumps at a time. Now, this means less work for the rider and the machine. But sometimes a rider will fall short, or, as in this case, try to stretch it out too far. The result is disastrous. Here, Rick Johnson, after crashing down on top of one of the rockers, gives up his lead to Jeff Ward. Moving into second place is rider number 6, another motocross superstar, David Bailey. One small miscalculation has taken Johnson from first to third place. The more obstacles you can clear in the air, the less you have to deal with on the ground. If you watch closely, each rider attempts to push the motorcycle over the jumps. This is accomplished by moving your arms forward and the rest of your body back. It gives the bike a little more thrust over the hill. Jeff Ward, the leader of this event, at age 24, is at the top of this sport. Like so many others, he's a Californian, where they ride motorcycles the year round. And if there's a classic championship profile, Jeff fits it perfectly. Young, aggressive, smart, an extremely efficient rider. Winning this event was just one more super accomplishment. David Bailey finished second on this day, and Rick Johnson settled for third. In the grueling sport of motocross, anything can happen. I remember the first motorcycle race that I ever saw. It was run on a flat track with no fancy jumps or whoop-de-doos, just hard riding, flat-out racing. It's a special kind of endurance test for riders. It's a continuous course, round and round, with 12, 15 competitors snapping at your heels all the time at better than 100 miles an hour. Flat tracking can be short or long, depending on the size of the track. Could be a quarter mile, a half mile, or a full mile. Right now, let's take a look at some wheel-banging, leather-swapping flat tracking.
Flat tracking is what they call it. Highly competitive motorcycle racing. Hi, everyone. I'm Del Clark. This is Hawthorne Park, a horse racing track just outside of Chicago. But on this day, it was groomed for 17 motorcycles. Thunderous motorcycles. It was an AMA National Championship event. Mounted on their 750cc machines were the best in the world. The early leader was number 67, Bubba Schobert, a tough young Texan. Tucked in right behind him as they ran over 100 miles an hour down the back straightaway was number 3, Ricky Graham out of Seaside, California. Setting up for the third turn, Graham charged to the inside and took the lead away from Schobert, nose to tail. These exciting motorcycles bolted down the front straightaway, building speed back up again to over 100 miles an hour. These riders compete in 23 events a year, chasing the illustrious national championship. They race not only in flat track events, but tourist trophy and road races as well. As this event continued, Bubba Schobert muscled his way back into the lead. This is a sport where side-by-side racing is common and dangerous. And there is danger everywhere. Wheel bumping, oversteering, sliding out, anything and everything can happen. It's not a sport for timid young men, but courage is only part of it. A savvy rider must think quickly as the other riders bob and weave in front of him, and pressure mounts from the riders in back of him. As you watch these riders, you can see there's little room for error at the speeds they're running. For a motorcycle racer, the chance of injury is much greater than in any other type of motorsport. His helmet and leather suit are about all he has. Oftentimes, he's at the mercy of Lady Luck. Now, as we watch the final lap of this race, Bubba Schobert is being overtaken on the outside by Randy Goss. Ricky Graham goes to the inside and takes the lead through the corner. Here's where you can really appreciate the skill and the thrill of the sport. Keep your eye on the third place fight. Bubba Schobert, using a drafting technique, he'll slingshot his way up alongside the leader. Goss in the second place machine will do the same. Both will blow by Graham, leaving him back in third. Now the game starts all over again. Graham gets past Goss and will have to attempt the same slingshot technique to get past Bubba Schobert as they come down for the checkered flag. He draws alongside the leader, and at the finish, Rick